Have you tried Googling the word shortage? You get some interesting results. Natural gas shortage, computer chip shortage, food shortages. And you go to the next page. Petrol driver shortage, skill shortages. So, shortages after shortages after shortages. And I'm going to explain to you why some of them exist. And I'm going to focus on the United Kingdom and the United States. If you find this video interesting, please share it around because people need to know what's happening so that they can vote accordingly. Because I got people from the UK which are sending me pictures of stores with shelves missing. And they're asking me like, hey, V, is this how it was under socialism? And I'm like, okay, let's look at why this is happening. Now, what I found fascinating is that you won't find the reason for why this is happening in The Guardian. You won't find the reason for why this is happening in the BBC. Like, none of the British newspapers like to talk about it, so I'm going to bring you the news from a Romanian newspaper. It's very bizarre that you need a newspaper from Romania to explain to you the situation. So, if you look at this article, which was from April, Boris Johnson, the Conservative, after leaving the European Union, decided that it's a smart idea to apply European Union standards. So the reason the people wanted Brexit was to get rid of these standards, and Boris goes like, nope, we're going to just put them back. And one of these standards is the most ambitious target to cut emissions in the world. The most ambitious, okay? Not the most sustainable, not the target to build more nuclear reactors. No. The most ambitious. Right, so who gets to suffer when the government becomes ambitious? Well, you get to suffer. So not only you're going to pay more money for gas, for... I don't know how the winters are in Britain, so I don't know how much money you spend on heating, but you're also going to have the pleasant surprise to enter stores and see that the shelves are empty. So why are the shelves empty? Well, if it comes to pig meat, the way I understand it, and I'm going to overly simplify things here, is that in order to reduce carbon emissions, certain businesses, which are considered pollutants, such as pig farmers, they have to buy the permission to pollute from the government. Now, this not only makes the meat more expensive artificially, because when you're buying the meat, you're also paying that tax to the government, but it also prevents the business for operating at maximum capacity. So in the case of pig farmers, what date is it today? It's 24th of September. Yes, by September, for the pig farmers, they ran out of carbon credits. So what does this mean? Well, it means they can't kill the pigs. So now they have an overabundance of pigs. They have hundreds of thousands of pigs that they cannot slaughter. They cannot sell because no one wants to buy it because you can't slaughter it. And they don't even have where to put them. And they're going to operate at a loss because, well, I guess due to animal protection rights, they still have to feed these pigs. So they can't just let them starve to death. And you have created a very interesting conundrum where the pig farmers, they just don't know what to do anymore. So that's one of the reasons, not the whole reason, but it's one of the reasons why you're going to have a shortage of meat in the United Kingdom, which I guess is going to be solved by purchasing meat at a higher cost from outside the United Kingdom. And when I say higher cost, well, the UK just left the EU, didn't it? So now you're going to have tariffs if you want to buy from other places. So you can't grow your own meat in your country. In fact, no. You can grow your own meat in your country. You just can't sacrifice. You can't slaughter it anymore to put it for public consumption. Now, I'm going to be very, very interested to see what's going to happen to these swines. Because honestly, like the people that are the farmers, they're operating at a massive loss here. Like they constantly have to feed them. And they can't... Okay, you get the picture. Another reason, and they will say, well, it's COVID. Now, I'm sorry to say that I don't think the virus has the capability of influencing logistics. But it's by shutting down the industry, which is a government-mandated legislation, they created massive supply problems. Why? Because a lot of things like computer chips, for example, they're usually made to order. Now, when you shut down the business, when you shut down the consumption, they're not ordering anymore. So you're throwing the entire supply chain belly up. So that's another reason why you're going to have supply problems. And the funny thing is that I couldn't find any news about this on the BBC. I couldn't find any news about this on The Guardian. I had to go to a Romanian newspaper in order to figure it out. Why? Because the BBC and The Guardian would likely blame Brexit, and they would likely blame the people who didn't get vaccinated for the supply shortages. Like that's their angle. That's their push. In order to, instead of getting people to be angry at the actual problem, it's like, okay, well, global warming is all bad and all, but we still need to eat at the end of the day. So can we find a middle ground? Can we maybe go to some nuclear power option? Can we maybe, I don't know, like instead of having the most ambitious plan, can we possibly have like the most sustainable plan or something like that? You know, instead of doing that, no, you need to blame Brexit. Now, Brexit apparently does play a little bit of a part in this because there's a shortage of truckers. Now, I don't know why there's a shortage of truckers in the UK. Of course, you know, like not being part of the European Union, it's more difficult for people from the EU to get a job in the UK. But this doesn't mean that the government can't incentivize people to become truckers. This doesn't mean that the government can't subsidize or create various facility or try to promote the job of a trucker through various advertisements and whatnot. Like my government used to do that in the past. And by the way, it's working. Like you can definitely incentivize people to take a profession that's in dire need. And it doesn't mean that the government can't also simplify the legislation for people coming outside of the United Kingdom to be truckers. Like, okay, we need this particular profession, we're in dire need, so let's create some legislation to allow people to come here and operate only this profession. Okay, like if you're a trucker, you got a license, you want to work in Britain, like, all right, we got certain facilities that will make it more easier for you to do this. So, again, it's not Brexit, it's the politicians. It's the people in charge that are doing this. Like, literally every single thing is the responsibility of the people in charge, and they're creating the problem. This is not a natural occurrence. This isn't a plague of locusts that has came over the United Kingdom and you can say, well, what can we do? This is not like a massive tsunami that has destroyed an entire city. And it's like, oh, well, turns out that city was instrumental in supplying logistics for the rest of the country. No, like this is literally the government coming in and fucking things up. Now, I got another video coming up where I'm going to talk about the massive issues that's going to hit the United States, also regarding supply and shortages. So if you like this video, please share it around. Don't forget to tune in to the next one, which is going to explain what's happening in California now. Apparently, there's a record number of ships that can't enter the port. So they can't drop their supplies over there, and we're going to analyze why that is.